Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris, your local marketing guy, and I'm here in North Park, San Diego. Now, this is a cool town, very college vibes, a lot of local one-off places with a lot of character, and that's the perfect kind of place to have a marketing guy for your small local business. You know, just a little bit about me. I started digital marketing about 10 years ago, and about 6 years ago, I helped my friend launch his fence contracting service company. It did really well. He asked me to focus on organic SEO. To this day, we still have our company, and now I'm branching out and looking for other small business owners, perhaps like yourself, who know they need a local marketing guy, but just haven't found one yet. And, you know, I'm reaching out to business owners for small local businesses. Medium, large size companies, they got marketing guys, they got marketing departments, right? You might be starting your own business, or maybe you've already got a business and you need some help growing and you know you need a marketing guy. I might be able to help you. All right. So another thing is I'm doing these location-based videos purposely sort of as a test to see if I can reach local business owners in these hyper geographic areas like North Park here. I did one earlier in Claremont. Yeah, go watch that one. That was a lot of fun. 3 landscapers showed up and they all had leaf blowers, so that got a little out of hand. And that was just in Kearney Mesa by the Daiso Japanese supermarket. So now I'm over here in North Park, and I'm reaching out to local business owners here. I've got my Chat GPT list. Like, always preface it by saying that, you know, it is Chat GPT. It's not always correct. If you feel you need to correct me, go ahead and put those corrections in the comments. If you live here in North Park, if you own a business here in North Park, and what I'm saying is it might be slightly off or whatever. I'm up in a parking garage. I'm above the noise. The last 2 spots, you know, I realized noise might be an issue. I thought I'd get a really cool view of North Park here in the backdrop. I mean, right below me is University. There's a lot of stuff going on down there. Probably would have been a cooler vibe to film in, but this is a lot quieter, and I don't want the noise to be a distraction. But we're going to go through the list. What I do is I usually break down, sorry, just got a good email. What I usually do is break down what I do. And what do? I do local SEO marketing, and I do AI automations. And I know for a fact that business owners out here in San Diego area are hyper interested in AI automations. So that's why I came down here. I'm LA based. Even though I said I'm your local marketing guy, I'm not too far away. Obviously, I'm willing to drive down here. I mean, dude, it's gorgeous today. Who doesn't love being in San Diego when the weather looks like this, you know? And I'll be honest with you, it's always nice to get out of LA. But that being said, I'm going to go through the list. Maybe you have this type of business here in North Park. Maybe you're thinking of starting a business like this here in North Park. And maybe you want to grow your business like this in North Park. So, again, the caveat being Chat GPT might not always be correct, but number 1, it says coffee shops and cafes. Now, I gather this is like a college town, obviously, right? Going to be a lot of coffee shops and cafes. That's very typical, right? So what kind of benefit could a coffee shop or cafe use? I mean, this is going to apply to almost all businesses on this list, right? Is that they could really benefit from a solid customer relationship experience. Right? You want to be able to connect with your customers, get them on an email list, get them on a text message list where you can shoot out promos and offers and news, right? Maybe you host open mics. Maybe you want to host an open mic. And that's something new, right? So as you build that community, your messaging to your community becomes very important as a small business owner, especially for something like a coffee shop or a cafe. You know, and another thing is obviously you want to be found. That local businesses, number 1, need to be found. And so that comes through search on maps. And how do you get on maps? You got to get on business directories. And I think most of you, if you don't know, you already know, Google Maps and Yelp are probably like your 2 biggest sources of traffic, right? As far as people being able to search and find and discover and then go through the reviews. So reviews are another important aspect to managing and running your local business with success, right? Because people obviously read the reviews and then they make their decision about whether or not they're going to try your shop, you know. And the other decision also oftentimes comes down to proximity. So that's another reason why you want to be found on these maps. Now, another thing other another thing people should focus on, or business owners like yourself should focus on, is making sure you're listed on all business directories. It's not just Google and Yelp. Specifically, I'm talking about things like car navigation. For example, right? If somebody is visiting the area and they're using their in-dash navigation system, meaning the one built into their Toyota, their BMW, their Mini Cooper, right? You want to make sure your business is also being shown on those maps. And so that's one of the things I can definitely help you with. And finally, one of the major concerns right now is getting listed in AI search results, right? When you ask ChatGPT or whatever AI service you're using, hey, what are some cool coffee shops in this area? You want it to be able to list your shop in those search results. And that comes through a slightly different process. It's not just getting listed on the business directories, but it heavily involves your website having the proper schema, where the information is crawlable by AI and formatted in a way where AI can read it and understand contextually what your business is about, where it's located, what kind of services it offers. So what's old is new again. That is actually a huge function of like traditional SEO and technical SEO. Technical SEO has things to do with like your schema markup and your meta descriptions, and then your on-page SEO, right? How is your data structured? Meaning like, how is it laid out in a way where it's readable and understandable by AI, where it knows, hey, this business does these services, offers these things, it's in this area. So that's a heavy focus. And again, as I go through this list, I've been working on these videos, trying to make them as condensed as possible. I'm going to be repeating maybe quite a few different things, but they're going to apply broadly to different industries. And some industries can benefit more from certain things than others. But like number 2 here, number 3, right? Number 2, craft breweries and tap rooms. Number 3, restaurants, right? And then it has casual, fusion, and plant-based. So interesting, that might be popular in this area. And then the craft breweries and tap rooms. I get the vibe from being on the street down there. I totally pick up what AI is putting down right here. That's just like the culture of the area, and there's a lot of areas similar to this with that college town vibe that are going to be big on like, the craft experience. And that's quite frankly some of the best businesses and business owners to work with is the local small business, right? Because often you're competing against the power of the marketing of the corporate chains, right? So how do you differentiate? I can help you with that. By the way, just click on the link, go to yourmarketingguy.app, get a hold of me. I also focus on selling services one-off. I'm not big on the monthly recurring costs, especially for local business owners or business owners just starting out, because let's face it, like you don't really want to be committed to like $1,000, $2,000 a month retainer, right? That's a big expense for small businesses, especially when you're just starting out. So what I focus on is microservices, one-off services. You pay me a little bit of money, I do one specific thing for you. We can kind of go, we can grow together. I can help you grow together. And a lot of the times the things that I'm recommending help you avoid those monthly recurring costs. One other thing I'll throw out here before I also continue with my list here is that with automations, right? What is automation? Since there's such a big interest here in San Diego, I mean, like literally I looked this up on Google Trends. That's why I came down here to make these videos, is AI automations. People are interested in automation in San Diego. They want to know how to do it, what it does, how it can help them. Let me just sum it up for you, right? If you're managing a business, you probably use 2, 3, 4, 5 different apps for different things. You might use QuickBooks for your accounting. You might use Stripe for your invoicing. You might use MailChimp for your email and SMS. Maybe you are using something like Go High Level where it's got a lot of things integrated, right? The point is, automations either within something like Go High Level or between those disparate apps help all of those things communicate and talk together, so your information is updated simultaneously across all of your different tools. So one example I like to use is something I built for my company. Basically, it's just a simple integration between Stripe and MailChimp. And what happens is when a customer's status gets updated in Stripe, it changes the tag in MailChimp, so I can help keep my audience segmented, because that's important when you're sending out messages, right? You don't want to send the same message to someone who may just be a lead versus someone who you've sent a quote to versus someone who's been invoiced, right? They're an existing customer. They've gone through that process. The messaging for every customer in the different part of the sales cycle should be different. It should be tailored, and especially that comes into play when perhaps you have more of like a retail or e-commerce business, right? And it can certainly help with your service business as well. So, okay, number 4, bars, cocktail lounges, nightlife, right? So this is where that customer relationship management comes into play, right? And that's going to be heavily reliant on email and SMS. So one big tool you'll be able to use is email and SMS to send out specials, to send out updates. Hey, here's the bands we got booked in the next, for this month. Here's what we're doing for Halloween. And, you can drop that message ahead of time. And the bigger your email list or your text message list grows, the bigger your audience and the more potential customers you can bring in. And, there's probably a lot of competition between all the bars and breweries and restaurants around town. So the more dialed in your marketing, the more effective you're going to be. And I'm really just reaching out to those 1 or 2 business owners in the area who know things are competitive and they haven't done enough. They know they could use some help, or they know they should be implementing email more, and they're just not sure how, or maybe you guys want to hire someone to just manage it for you. That's exactly the kind of guy I am when it comes to this local marketing stuff. So again, just click the link in the description, reach out to me, and we'll take it from there. Okay, number 5 is tattoo studios. So I noticed this is another thing in San Diego, a lot of tattoo studios, right? So again, this is a kind of business where people come to you and they're going to be based off your reviews, right? So one obvious thing we can do is automate your reviews. This way, when a customer comes in, you get their information, it puts them into an automation where once they check out, right? And again, this is about that custom integration into your point of sale system, right? Maybe you're using Stripe, maybe you're using Square, maybe you're using one of the other many tools out there. Most of them have an API. And if they have an API, I can connect it to your other tools. So, and again, I'm also reaching out to the smaller businesses, the businesses just starting up, the businesses that haven't been around for long or don't have the ability to pay for enterprise level software, right? You've got to make it work. It's all lean, mean, and scrappy, and I'm totally down with that, all right? I'm a lean startup guy myself. I mean, look at me. I'm out here making videos, trying to reach customers so I can find more clients. And if this works and you are here literally in North Park watching this video as a small business owner, then I know I've been able to reach you on a micro geographic level. Imagine what I can do for you and your customers, okay? All right, so number 6, hair salons, barbershops, and grooming studios. Again, this is another common type of service business that I think is going to be found in like most major cities. This list doesn't vary too much between the different parts of San Diego I've outlined, but nevertheless, you're still going to be able to benefit from a lot of things, right? Like, not only do you need to be found geographically, so you're showing up on all those maps and business directories, you're going to want to have a good review system to make sure you're getting reviews from customers, and then you want to build that customer relationship, right? You're going to want to make sure that your customers come back to you, right? Because a hair salon, a barbershop, a grooming studio, right? And even number 7, med spas, estheticians, facial bars. Repeat customers are how you stay in business and really maximize growth, right? You want to build that relationship, you want to build trust, you want to deliver great service, and then you want to keep them coming back. So email marketing, text message marketing, pumping out specials, even just, every message can build that relationship with the customer. So when it's time for them to get make another hair appointment or get a facial or whatever it is that you offer, you've got your built-in clientele, right? And you can grow and expand that, and you keep them coming back. And okay, number 8 here. I don't want to keep these videos too long. Number 8 is fitness studios. So very similar, right? Very similar to the topics we just talked about. But again, you have a different type of customer. It says Pilates, yoga, spin, boot camp. There might also be a lot of competition, right? So again, I'm just trying to find that one gym owner, that one studio owner, that one spa owner, or that one spin or boot camp, CrossFit gym owner, right? That maybe you've just started, you're in a competitive environment, You just need that little bit of edge, right? I don't need to work with I don't need to do the marketing for every type of business in town. I just want to work with that one business owner, maybe it's you, who knows they need to do something, and they're willing to hire me as their marketing guy. That's why I call myself your marketing guy, because hey, you need a marketing guy, right? Okay, so boutiques and independent retail. Noticed a lot of that down on the avenue just now. It's probably gonna, yes, see number 10, vintage thrift stores. Exactly, right? So not only are we talking about boutique retailers, we're talking also about like a very niche, right? Vintage and thrift stores. So obviously that's big in this area. And again, how do you differentiate? How do you keep them coming back? Well, besides having a great selection, great service, clean store, etc., it's that relationship, building the relationship with their customers. One thing I haven't mentioned here yet is implementing AI voice agents. This is big, it's growing, and the good news is the cost is going down. One of the things I mentioned is I don't like to stick a monthly recurring cost on business owners unless it's absolutely justified, and even then I try to reduce it or find like the lowest costing option. Building and developing and creating your own personalized AI voice agent that can answer the phone, answer customer questions, the price of that just continues to decrease. So, I know when it first came out, they were talking about $20,000 for some of these systems, or even more. You could probably get away now with like $100 to $200 a month, and that probably is going to include like your rate per minute on all the calls. So, it's a great way. Here's how I describe it. It's a great way to free up your current staff to focus on more important tasks. The less someone has, like I see this all the time when I'm at restaurants or bars and it's busy and there's one bartender, and what is she doing? She's got to stop and pick up the phone, and there's all these people waiting for drinks and stuff like that. Implementing the voice agent now is getting more sophisticated, more advanced. It's way beyond press 1 for directions, press 2 for hours. You know what I mean? You can really build these things to be conversational, to be very knowledgeable about your business, not just the menu and the prices, but like whatever, anything you want to train it to know, it's possible now, and it's very easy, and the cost has gone down. So again, if the sales floor is packed and there's a line of customers at the register at your vintage shop, do you really want the salesperson or the cashier to like pick up the phone and be like kind of irritated because there's a line of customers and she's got to answer the phone? No. Because what's that going to do? It's probably going to lower her quality of conversation on the phone with that potential new customer. So this is a great implementation there. Pet groomers, pet boutiques, vet clinics. And especially if you're mobile, right? Let's say you got a mobile groomer, right? You need to raise awareness about your business. You want people to be able to find your business not just on the map, but on the web. Because maybe if you're not fixed to a location, you're going to rely more on people finding your website. And I know ways to get you on Google Maps and Yelp, even if you don't have like an actual location. It's through service areas, but really what it's going to come down to is dialing in the SEO on your website itself. That's going to help. So, here's a cool one. I haven't come across this, and like I said, I was in Claremont and Kearney Mesa prior to this. Art galleries and creative studios. Totally get that vibe from the street down there. Again, art galleries, you want to build that relationship. You want to give people your schedule of events. Here's the artists we got coming in. Here's how long they're going to be here. Here's who's up next month or next week, or however you rotate in your showings. And then of course, right, you're building that clientele list. You're building that list of collectors. You're building that list of buyers. So that way, if you got a guy who's into like modern urban minimalism, and you book that kind of artist 2 months out, you might be able to give him a sneak preview email. And again, that comes down to segmenting your email list. So again, what's old is new. These are all tried and true techniques, but how do they apply to your local business? That's where a guy like me comes in to help you dial it in, figure it out. Co-working spaces, creative spaces. That's another thing. Now, I'm not really sure how many co-working spaces are independently owned. There could be a handful, and if you're out there, feel free to reach out. That's, to me, that sounds more like a high-ticket item sale, right? Because, I know these memberships are at least $200-300 a month, depending on the level, and if they want an actual desk, right, versus like a floating pass, those are even more. So you're selling, these are not cheap things. These are not like $50 low ticket e-commerce items, right? So that relationship and that outbound comes into play more. Another thing I'll throw out here is, how is your marketing? How are you doing on pay per click, right? Are you using meta leads? Are you doing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or TikTok ads, right? Are you doing pay per click? Google. Another thing I can help you out with. Okay, therapists, counselors, and coaches are next. Again, this mental health falls into the medical, the bigger umbrella of medical services. You have an office. How can automations help you? They can help you with your booking, right? Maybe you can automate the appointment booking process, so that way you can focus just on filling that customer session with the best quality care, and you're not like scrambling or worrying about like manually adding things to your calendar and things like that. So it's a great way for you to again, unburden yourself, right? That's what automation's all about. And also SEO. If there's a high number of therapists, coaches, whatever in the area, you're going to need to also rely on being found in search and ranking higher in those results. Classic SEO. Okay, real estate agents and boutique brokerages. This is another common theme I'm finding in San Diego, probably also like anywhere you're at. When it comes to real estate, especially if you're independent, right? You don't have a lot of the tools that maybe you're given by a lot of the bigger companies to their agents or to your brokerage. So differentiating yourself and being able to be searched for, discovered, and found, and building that relationship with your potential customers is huge. And so, again, you've probably heard a number of things on this video already that probably relate to you. I'm just going to keep moving here because, again, I don't want to run too long, and I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Okay, number 16, auto repair shops, smog checks. Another local business, customers come to you. Need to be discoverable. And when I mentioned those directory listings within the vehicle search navigations earlier, that probably spoke directly to you, right? If someone's check engine light comes on, you want them to, boom, put it in their navigation, make sure your business is listed there. Enough said. Bakeries, donut shops, and dessert bars. Okay, so this is a fun little niche when it comes to the restaurant business. Again, reviews are going to be huge here. Having a nice website, great images, and searchable, right? Where you come up, like maybe you're a cupcake shop specifically. So cupcake is a keyword you're keenly interested in. Donuts and desserts as well. So maybe you specialize in a very specific kind of dessert. Whatever it is, you want to rank for it, and that's what I can help you with. All right, number 18, florists and plant shops. Another local service where, maybe it's seasonal. It's about around holidays. You just want to make sure you're able to be searched. But building that relationship is going to be important here as well. You want to build that list of emails, those text messages. So when with Mother's Day is coming up, you want to be top of mind with your previous customers, right? So you want to keep them coming back. This way, you may not find someone who buys week over week, but year over year, Number 19, massage therapists and alternative wellness providers. This goes, again, under that bucket of mental health, medical services. Again, differentiation, keywords. Maybe you do Reiki, right? You need to rank. You want to rank, or else you won't be discoverable. And if you're not discoverable, you're going to lose out on business. All right. Number 20, cleaning services. Again, this is maybe more of this is more something, again, that's going to rely heavily on being found in directories, on maps, but you're going to benefit greatly probably from an AI voice agent and, of course, that automated review process. So, guys, again, my name's Chris. I'm your marketing guy. Go to the link in the description. Reach out to me if you want some help. I'm in North Park. If you're in North Park and you're a local business owner and this video found you, then I'm doing my job right. Okay, thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.